Hey, Astamura, welcome. It was a busy week, but it was a productive week, which is good in a lot of respects. So, also got a lot of important work done around the house, and all the contractors finished up this week. So, house is getting back to normal, which is good. Still have a little bit of repair work to do on my own, so I'll be, after we're done here and into Sunday, be doing putting some new studs in, doing some new drywall work, that sort of stuff to patch up some holes and kind of getting ready for the last set of contractors to come through. But yeah, it was a good week overall, and I needed it to be a good week because next week is going to be pretty bad. So, but yeah, everything's going all right. I hope everything's going on for you. I had my entire ceiling space re-insulated with a much higher insulation rating. And then I had my air handler, which a lot of my European people won't know what that is, but the central air conditioner, basically, the central air conditioner / heater that moves all the hot or cold air around the house. I had it moved from the second floor up into my attic space, and all of the ductwork and stuff like that redone. And then I had the contractors put in dampers so that I can have individual temperature control of each bedroom, the living room, things like that, so I can control them all separately off of the one unit. So had a lot of that work done, so they needed to rip all the insulation out, and then they had to build a platform and move the unit up and do all the new ductwork and all the new controls, and then they put the insulation back in yesterday. Just in time for next week when it's going to get down to freezing here. So yeah, basically that's what y'all call it, Astamura. It's the fan and the filter section. Here in the US, we have the cooling apparatus, the cooling coil, and the heating coil, the heating apparatus built into that same unit, as opposed to a lot of places where you may just have a split system, where you have like a wall-mounted unit with the cooling coil and fan in it, and then an outside unit, and you may have radiators or something like that inside the house. We take those radiators and we put them inside the unit, and we don't make them hot water down here, we make them electric. So everything's kind of self-contained in one little 4-foot tall box. And so yeah, and that's exactly it. You have to remember to change the filters. My filters are now moved up into the attic as well, so all of that noise from that unit is now up there in the attic where I can't hear it. It's all easily accessible through a new ladder going up into the attic and all of that sort of stuff. So it's all done. It all seems to be working really, really well. And now I've just got to repair all the drywall and that sort of stuff from where old holes used to be, from where doors to get to the old unit used to be, and that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm gonna be working on this weekend. Yeah, it gets all bundled together. In America, our flats, either their homes or apartments, have a lot of space compared to what you see overseas. So we're able to dedicate a room, a small room, you know, a 4-foot by 4-foot space that has that single unit in it. A lot of places you can't, you don't have that extra 16 square feet or you know, 2 square meters worth of stuff, of space to be able to put that in. So here it's all contained in one. Yeah, and we're actually, or I am actually going to be doing underfloor heating under the tiles in my bathroom when I redo that next year. Because, yeah, that's a big thing overseas is underfloor heating of some type, whether it be hot water, if you've got hot water radiators, just running hot water loop under the floor, or electric heat under the floor. Seems to be a really, really popular thing. It's catching on here a little bit in newer homes, but when I remodel the bathroom up there, I'll get electric heat installed under the floor. Yeah, and that's why next week is going to be bad, because next week we don't get freezing temperatures down here where I live very often. And when we do, it normally causes a lot of damage because we're just not prepared for it. And next week it's going to freeze. So we're going to get down well below 0 Celsius. We'll be somewhere, I think the low temperature on Tuesday is somewhere around -7 Celsius. And it's going to stay below freezing for a couple of days. So I needed to get all this insulation done and all the new ductwork and heating put in before that happens. So yeah, and for us down here, that just never happens. Where I'm at, most of the time here where I live, we're somewhere around 10 to 12 Celsius, 10 to 14 Celsius during the winter. But then we will have occasional drops that will get down to 6 or 7, something like that. But we never hit 0. We just don't. But occasionally we'll get weird weather systems over here, you know, due to all the climate change stuff, and those hefty winds will blow in a cold front, and that's what's happening this week. So we'll be down to about that -7 range, I think, is the low on Tuesday, and we won't get above 0. It'll drop below 0 on Monday. It won't get above 0 on Tuesday, and it will finally get back above 0 on Wednesday. And when it's that cold here, and we're going to get snow and ice during that time here. So when that happens, things really break, just because the city isn't prepared for it. They don't have the infrastructure for it. So we're kind of going to hunker down and go through it. The last time a freeze like this happened, we had 2 million people without power here in the city of 4.2 million. So we're hoping things have gotten better, but we'll kind of wait and see. Yeah, and that's the same thing down here, Astamura, the climate change. People can debate all they want the causes of climate change, but personally I think they would all be wrong because I think the science proves what's causing it, but people can debate that all they want. They cannot debate the fact that climate change has happened. And we see it all the time. And yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it snowed and it would stay snow on the ground for weeks at a time where I grew up, and now that just never happens anymore. When I first moved down here 25 years ago, the temperatures during the summer would be a certain temperature, and now they're 5 to 10 degrees hotter. So it's just one of those things. And with that comes not just hotter temperatures, but extreme changes in temperatures as well. So we had, let's see, I think it was a 13 degrees Celsius change in temperature from the afternoon to the late night a couple of times this year, where it would be just a huge temperature swing. So we would be at, actually it's more than that. We'd be at it'd be a 20 degrees Celsius change. We'd be at 23 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, and then it would be 2 Celsius in the evening. Those type of temperature swings just didn't used to happen at all. Yeah, you're right, Ostamura. Like I say, they can try and debate it all they want, but the fact is that anybody who's old enough to realize what it used to be like knows that it's changed. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. We'll hunker down here and stay safe and make it through. So. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode number 41 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode gameplay series. I'm Commander Jarval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, a couple of admin notes. The first, you notice that there wasn't any music playing during the intro, and that makes the countdown and timer and chatting section a little bit more mundane, and I'm kind of waiting to see. I'm constantly getting automated copyright claims put on my videos. And I'm waiting to see what the responses are on some of those that I've been talking to them about to see if they're legitimate or not. It didn't used to happen hardly at all, but now it's gotten really, really bad. So I've turned the music off just because I honestly don't want to have to deal with it right now. I've got so many of them I'm having to deal with, and I'm tired of them sharing my revenue for my videos because some computer puts a claim on it without anybody in person really noticing it or looking at it. So I'm disputing a couple of them to see what happens, and if they get disputed, then I'll turn the music back on. But for now, we're going to turn it off and kind of go from there. On the game admin note, there was a community update, number 33, put out this week by Larian. It's nothing really new. I think content creators we've kind of been throwing out ideas. We think that they're kind of delayed on patch 8, and as such, they wanted to put out a community update to kind of let everybody know what's happening, as well as kind of refresh the enthusiasm that everyone had for the initial announcement for patch 8. But the stress test has not started yet. You can still sign up for it if you would like to stress cross-play and multiplayer stuff with mods. Like I say, none of which I do, so I'm not signing up for it. But the opportunity is still there to sign up for the stress test because it has not started yet. They've been delayed, I think, trying to get cross-play worked out for the most part, because that's not just them. They have to work with the console manufacturers as well to make sure all of that works, and I think that's probably the holdup, is what we're all kind of speculating on the content creator side of things. So there's not a whole lot. They just refreshed basically what's coming in patch 8. But feel free to go take a look at it on Larian's community page, and you'll see it, and you can take a more in-depth look through it. So I think that's it for our admin notes. So on our recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had finished up inside Below Gear's fireworks, and that meant that we had procured a bunch of explosives and things like that we sent to camp. We had also, at the beginning of last week's episode, cleared out all of the Cloister of Somber Embrace and the House of Grief. And I said I was going to go through and do some things off stream, and I have. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and we'll kind of talk about what's happened and what we're going to do today. Because we are going to get into some combat today, but we're going to start out by doing a few things to kind of illustrate what I did off stream, as well as do our level ups for our main characters here. Okay, so here we are back at the Stormshore Armory. Remember at the end of last week's episode, we had talked to Fitz and saw the cutscene with Karlach. Now you can see that Fitz and Gloomy here are green. That means their attitudes are up in the green level, which for me is 100%. Off stream, I went back and looted everything in Felogir's Fireworks. I looted everything in the Cloister of Somber Embrace. I raised the vendor attitudes here and sold everything that I could. And all of that gold is now sitting back at camp. And we're going to take a look at it here in a second. You'll also notice that everybody has been reset to level 1. And that's because I've gone through and I've done a respec on everybody, and some things have changed. Shadowheart is now a Tempest cleric. You can see that in her reactions. She is no longer a light cleric. She is a Tempest cleric. And we're going to see how that plays out as we go through her level ups. Astarion is the same rogue start off that he used to be. Karlach is also a rogue. That seems a little odd to start out with her being a rogue. However, if you look at her character sheet, you can see her attribute distributions here are a little strange for a rogue, and you'll kind of see how this plays out as we go through her level up. But for myself, I do have a 17 still in Charisma. We're going to up that by 1 to 18, and then by 2 more to 20. For Shadowheart, she does not have anything that is odd. I have redone her stat points, and that's because I'm not going to care about getting the +1 to Charisma for her, but I am going to be upping her Wisdom to 18. Astarion here is a little bit different, and you'll kind of see how this plays out as we go forward. Again, not going to care about the Charisma upping for him. But he's going to end up with a 20 wisdom by the time we are done with all of it. And for Karlach here, again, not going to be worrying about the charisma bonus, but her strength is also going to be 20 at a point. Astarion's strength is going to be at 21 all the time, obviously because of the elixirs, either 21 or 25, depending on which elixir he has. So I've redone some stat points, and we'll kind of delve more into that as we get into the level up. But for now, we want to head back to the Basilisk Gate, and we need to go to the Stormshore Tabernacle.
They should all be running.
Before we go in, we're going to head to camp. Okay, and if we open up our camp chest here, you can see how much gold we have. The Cloister of Somber Embrace not only has a lot of armor that you can sell, but it also has a bunch of books that are worth 380 gold apiece. So when you're searching down there, do not miss picking up any books. When you come back and you have a bard that has a high persuasion skill and is able to get the 150% bonus to sales prices, you can sell all of that armor, all of those books for a lot of gold. Now that gold that we have of 24k is also on top of 2 high-priced items that we bought. We bought the Armor of Agility, and it cost us 3,500 gold, and we bought the Deadshot, which cost us 2,500 gold. So if you add that 6,000 onto it, we have somewhere around 25,000 worth of gold that we got for selling all of that stuff that we had. There's a lot of gold to be made here, and that's why I went to the Cloister first, is so that I could really get my gold up to where I wanted it to be and start buying some items. Okay, so speaking about that, we did buy the Deadshot. The Deadshot for your crit builds is the best bow to have. It gives you, it's a weapon in your offhand slot, or your range slot, that lowers your critical hit roll by 1. So it is just flat out one of the best things that you can have for your crit build. We don't have anybody in our party that's going to be using it right now, so we're going to send it to camp. And then the Armor of Agility. So the Armor of Agility is a 17 armor class medium armor, which is the highest that you're going to get from medium armor, and it allows you to add your full dexterity modifier to your armor class. The other thing about this is that the armor does not impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks. So if you're playing as that Gloomstalker rogue build for Astarion, this is one of the best, if not the best armor for them to have until you pick up something a little bit later on. This armor will serve you very, very well, but again, we don't have anybody that we're going to be utilizing that on. So while we're here, we need to pick up something, and that is we're going to pick up 4 backpacks. Okay. And, whoops. And we're going to pick up something, doesn't really matter. Something, it doesn't really matter how much gold, you just need to have at least 1,200. Okay, now what we're going to do is split this into stacks. of 399 gold and put one each into each of the backpacks. And you'll see why we're doing this here in a second. Okay, so now we have 4 backpacks, and if you look down on the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that the total value of this backpack is 400 gold. That's what you want. Whatever containers you put this in, and whether you use a pouch that's 1 gold or a backpack that's 1 gold, you want the total value of the backpack plus whatever's in it to be 400 gold. Okay, now we'll head in here and we're going to talk to Vicar Umbletoes because you can see his attitude's not been raised.
Welcome back, child of faith. You have come far, I perceive. How may I serve you this day? Of course, my child. Within limits. Behold my wares.
And the first thing to look at is Vicar Umbletoes' attitude. Now, I've already talked to him off stream. Normally, the first time you go talk to a vendor, after you have completed the Stop the Presses quest, as soon as you come in here and request a trade, you're going to get a message that's going to pop up saying that news of your worthy deeds has spread and the vendors are more than happy to trade with you. What that really means is that all of the vendors here in the lower city, their attitudes have been raised by 10. So instead of starting at 0, you start at 10. And that means that instead of needing 400 gold to raise their attitude at level 1, you need 10% less. So now 360 gold will raise his attitude to 100. And this is why you don't talk to any of the vendors to raise their attitudes until you have completed Stop the Presses, because there are several vendors here. And each one of those vendors raising it up, if there are 5 vendors and you're saving 40 gold at each one, you're now saving 200 gold that you don't have to spend to raise their attitudes. So it's another gold saving trick to not raise their attitudes until after you've completed Save the Presses. Okay. So now we have another vendor who's completely leveled up, and now we're going to work on some permanent buffs here. So for myself, I'm going to go talk to the Statue of Helm here.
You see an altar dedicated to Helm the Vigilant. Helm the Watcher is a guardian god, dedicated to the preservation of order. Many turn to him in troubled times. Your knowledge of religion tells you nothing more about the worship of Helm.
Okay, now I'm going to make an offering to Helm. Now, this offering you need to do at level 1. Getting the number that you need here is based on your level, just like raising a vendor attitude is. So you're going to need 400 gold at level 1 to be able to get the blessing. And that's why I split 399 gold into a backpack worth 1 gold to get 400. The game right now is broken. You cannot click on the gold here and give it 400. Even if you split it into a stack of 400, it will pop up the window asking you how much gold you want to donate. That window, for some reason, pops up outside of this conversation. It doesn't pop up on top of this window so that you can move the slider around. It pops out behind this window. You can't move this window around. And you cannot exit this to get to it without getting out of the donate portion of this dialogue. So you need to put your donations inside of something that you can click and then click donate.
The amount you've offered proves your faith and devotion. You may now pray here once a day for a divine blessing. Show reverence before your deity and open your soul to their divine power. You are blessed by Helm's fierce vigilance and feel stern and alert. Praise Helm.
Okay, and we're going to get an inspiration for that, and that gives us the Anointed in Splendor condition. This is a +2 bonus to all saving throws. Now, this is going to replenish itself every long rest. So you can take a long rest and it will come back. So it is a permanent buff. Now, there are ways that you can lose this. In that, if you have gotten this buff before you've gone downstairs and looted the stuff down there and you get castigated by divinity will remove this. But then as soon as you've removed castigated by divinity, you can go pray to the altar and get it back. So if at any time you ever lose the Anointed in Splendor buff, you don't have to take a long rest. You can come back here, go to the same, pray to the same god that you got the buff from, and you will be able to get it back. And that's kind of important in that you need to pray to the same god you got it from. So here's Selûne, so I'm going to have Shadowheart go pray to Selûne.
You feel the chill gaze of the Moon Maiden upon you. Selûne welcomes you. An inscription reads, "Let all who worship the changing tides of life and knowledge feel the blessings of Selûne. Trust in the purity of my light. See the constancy in its inconstancy, and you will be guided aright." As a moon-bathed cleric, this is your moment to bask in her lunar light and imbue your spirit with her majesty and grace.
Okay, and this is because I did forsake Shar at the ending of the Cloister of Somber Embrace. If you are still a Sharan cleric, then you can go pray to Shar, who's she doesn't have a statue, but she is somewhere else that I'll show you here in a second. So we're going to make an offering.
The amount you've offered proves your faith and devotion. You may now pray here once a day for a divine blessing. Show reverence before your deity and open your soul to their divine power. The cold, white light of Selûne fills you with majestic wisdom and grace. Shine forth as the Moon Maiden shines.
Okay, and now she's going to have Anointed in Splendor. And we're going to do that for the last two, but we're going to do that... actually, we'll send
Damn, it's good to be alive.
Karlach
There we go.
over here to Tyr.
You see an altar dedicated to Tyr. Tyr, the blind god, offers justice to all, innocent and malefactor alike. The law dictates what is right, be that reward or retribution. Your knowledge of religion isn't extensive enough to tell you more. The amount you've offered proves your faith and devotion. You may now pray here once a day for a divine blessing. Show reverence before your deity and open your soul to their divine power. Tyr blesses you with the judgment to know right from wrong and the strength to mete out retribution for injustice.
Okay, and last will be Astarion. Now, Astarion doesn't like doing any of this. You've been seeing all the disapproval.
Let's see here.
This altar isn't dedicated to a single god, but instead acts as a conduit to many. Your god is one of many, and in this place you sense a spark of its mighty divine flame.
That's because Astarion doesn't really believe in any of this stuff, but this gives you a way to find all of the other gods in the pantheon of Fearun. And we're going to go down
gods
here.
Are ready to receive your sacrifice.
And we're going to pick Tiamat. Tiamat kind of summarizes Astarion the best, I think. So we're going to be using Tiamat as his, but it doesn't really matter which one you pick. There's so many gods listed. I think there's 18 additional gods or something listed in this, in the 3 different groups of gods here. Remember, whatever god you pray to is the god you have to come back to get the buff again if it ever goes away. So pick something you're going to remember, or just pray to one of the 4 statues out there, because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything. Just remember it so you can come back and get it whenever you want it.
The amount you've offered proves your piety and devotion. You may now pray here once a day for a divine blessing.
Hear this humble plea. Shield our people from the depredations of the absolute heretics. Bless them with the strength.
Your soul opens to their divine power.
Okay, so now everybody should have anointed in splendor. We all have steeped in bliss just because Astarion is carrying the resonance stone. So now let's go ahead and do our level ups.
Not as bad as it could have.
I'll just move
boots have seen
outside here
everything.
a little bit while we do this. Okay, so for us here, we're going to level up our bard for a little bit. Then we're going to change over to something else. And you'll kind of see why we're going to do this here in a second. So as far as this goes, I am going to take Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And there's a specific reason why I'm going to take that, which we will see a little bit later. There's nothing else that we want to take in here. I'm just making sure. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to change off College of Lore to College of Swords. For fighting styles, I'm picking dueling. It's important that you don't have to level up Bard first. However, when I start multi-classing here into Paladin, Paladin is going to let me select a fighting style as well. And dueling is one of those fighting styles that are available. If you pick dueling while you're leveling up Paladin, you will not be able to select dueling here, and we don't need 2-weapon fighting. So I'm going to pick dueling from my Bard here, because that's going to allow me to select a different fighting style when I level up Paladin. Because the fighting styles there, they have access to more fighting styles than what the College of Swords Bard does. I'm going to not forget to come back here to my skills. Okay, and I'm going to change this to here and here. And for my spells, I'm going to be taking Enhance Ability. I don't think there's anything that I need to replace out of the original ones. There's not. Okay, now that I've selected that fighting style, now I'm going to start multi-classing. So the first we're going to be into is Paladin. I'm going to change this to Oath of Vengeance. That gets me Inquisitor's Might. Okay, and then here you can see we're going to gain a fighting style. And here you can see you have 3 others other than dueling. But because we selected dueling already, we can't select it again. But this allows us to pick defense, so that we gain a +1 bonus while wearing armor. So if I would have picked dueling here on Paladin and then leveled up my Bard, defense is not available. So you'd be missing out on a +1 bonus to armor class. That's why I leveled up how I did. As far as prepare spells go, I'm just going to focus on the smites as well as command and divine favor. We don't need any more levels in Paladin. So now I'm going to add in my Warlock levels. For this level up multi-class, it doesn't matter which of the 3 classes you do in order, because Charisma has the star above it. That is the proficiency bonus stat for all 3 of these classes. If I was adding in something like Rogue, which moves to Dex, then you want to have the other multi-classes that are not Dex. You want to level up in those before you level up in Rogue. Whatever the last class you add in your multi-class is what your spellcasting bonus goes in with. So you don't want to handicap yourself on that multi-classing. The multi-classing works different here than it does in tabletop. I think it's just something that was overlooked probably in the game. But whatever you want your primary spellcasting ability modifier to be with, you need to use that last in your multi-class progression. For here, it doesn't matter. It's always Charisma. So I'm going to change this to the Great Old One. And I messed that up. I shouldn't have taken Tasha's Hideous Laughter. I was going to get it for free. So, I can get rid of it. Okay, good, because I want to put Hex in here. And then Dissonant Whispers I'm going to keep for now. It is psychic damage. And again, we are making people vulnerable to psychic damage all the time. So this is a good thing to have on tap if we need it. Level 2 Warlock, there's nothing in particular here that we need other than our Eldritch Invocations, and that is Devil's Sight and Repelling Blast. I don't need Agonizing Blast here. I want Repelling Blast to be able to knock people backwards. Out of this, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take Hellish Rebuke, but again, it doesn't really matter what we utilize for this, and there's nothing else in here that I want to swap out. Level 3 Warlock is our final level in Warlock, and that's because we now gain our Pact Boon, which is Pact of the Blade. This is going to allow us to use our Charisma modifier as our weapon to hit and damage modifier, which is exactly what we want. And I'm definitely picking Darkness. Having somebody else in the party being able to cast it is what we want. Okay, and now we're going to go back to our Bard. Okay, so Bard level 4, we're going to get a feat. I'm going to take that to Alert. Alert is just way too useful. In Honor mode especially. For my spells, I'm going to go with Calm. Well, I won't need... Let me think about this. I can't be frightened anymore, so I don't think I need Calm Emotions anymore. I'll go with Hold Person here. For my cantrips, it doesn't really matter what I do with this. I'll go with Minor Illusion. At level 5, we're going to gain our inspirations back after short rest, which is really, really nice. And here I normally pick Glyph of Wording. This is level 11, and we get Bard level 6. Bard level 6 is important because we get extra attack. This is what turns our College of Sword Bard with the Paladin levels in it really, really powerful. So for our next spell here, I'm going to take Plant Growth. And now for level 12, we have options here. But for me, I'm going to choose to take this level in Bard, and that's because we're going to gain an additional level 4 spell slot. That spell slot is just there for Divine Smites. That's all it's there for. Right now, at level 6 Bard, we have one level 4 spell slot. This is going to gain me another one, and that's another 4d8 radiant damage that we can cause with a Divine Smite. So for level 4 here, doesn't really matter what we're doing, but I'm going to take Freedom of Movement here as an emergency cast. Having Freedom of Movement and being able to snap somebody out of a stun or a paralyze or something like that is very, very useful. Just as an emergency thing. I'm going to tend to use that level 4 spell slot for Divine Smites, but having Freedom of Movement around is really, really nice. Okay, and that gets our Bard up to where they want to be. Now, Cleric level 2, we're going to keep Shadowheart here as a full Cleric, but the reason I went with Tempest is because of this. Destructive Wrath. Destructive Wrath is whenever you roll thunder or lightning damage, you can use a Channel Divinity charge to deal max damage out of that. The reason that becomes important is because we're going to have a very powerful spell that deals both thunder and radiant damage, and now when we cast it, we can use a Channel Divinity to do max damage with the thunder portion of that spell. Okay, I'm not going to worry about preparing any spells right now. I'm just going to level her up. Okay, so as part of this, we're going to get Shatter, which again, thunder damage that we can max out. So instead of dealing somewhere around 12.5 or 14 average damage, we're going to deal 24 every time we cast Shatter, as long as we have Channel Divinity charges left. Okay, so we're going to gain our first feat here, and we're going to go with Alert. For the cantrips, doesn't really matter. Might as well pick Blade Ward. Okay, level 5, we're going to gain Call Lightning, which again, as a lightning spell, is going to help us with our Channel Divinity deal max lightning damage whenever we cast it. Destroy Undead, so whenever you successfully turn a creature, it also takes 4d6 radiant damage. Again, really nice to have. And now at level 6, we gain Thunderbolt Strike. So this is a passive that you can turn on and off. Whenever you deal thunder or lightning damage to a creature that is large or smaller, you also push it up to 3 meters. Now this can be a little finicky if you forget to turn it off and you end up knocking people off of a ledge into a chasm or something like that. When you're not expecting Call Lightning to push enemies backwards and stuff like that. So you have to make sure you're aware of when this is on, but it's very similar to something like Repelling Blast. It just doesn't push them back nearly as far. Okay, so Cleric level 7, we're going to get access to freedom of movement for free. This now comes along with Shadowheart, so we have another panic cast of freedom of movement to snap people out of stuns and that sort of stuff. Also comes with Ice Storm, which is really, really nice spell to have. Level 8, we're going to get our second feat. We also gain Divine Strike Thunder. So whenever you deal weapon damage, now you can deal 1d8 thunder damage. And you'll see this pop up if we use melee attacks with her. For our feat here, we're going to go with ability improvement. Get her up to 18 wisdom. So here, just spells, we gained a level 5 spell slot that we're going to be using. And again, we'll come back and prepare our spells later. Okay, at level 10, we're going to gain Divine Intervention. Now, we haven't utilized this yet, but in Honor mode, Divine Intervention is your I'm going to save the run type of thing to have. There are 3 different types of it, and we'll kind of talk about them a little bit later, but as far as cantrips go, again, it doesn't really matter what we do with these. Cleric level 11 just gains us access to level 6 spells that are here. Planar Ally is very, very useful to have. Okay, and here at level 12, we get our third feat. And there are a few different things that you can do with this. So, Elemental Adept, your spells and attacks ignore resistance to a damage type of your choice. This can be really nice for her with when you combine this with Destructive Wrath. If you're casting this against somebody who has resistance to thunder damage, or resistance to radiant damage, or resistance to lightning damage, you can override that resistance and automatically gain that full benefit of max damage against them. You can also go with ability improvement. You can raise her ability score for wisdom up to 20, and then her +2 that she's going to gain from the Mirror of Loss, we could put it into Constitution or something like that later on. You have the magic initiates. I don't think these are actually really good to use. I don't need any more cantrips or anything like that, so I don't think most of the magic initiates are really very good. Your medium armor master here, since her dex is 16, this would allow her to wear her medium armor that she's got on and up her armor class by 1, because her dex is a +3 bonus right now, and she's only getting +2 to her armor class. So this would allow her to up her armor class by 1. And then there's always something like Resilient. Now, if you're going to go with Resilient, then you want to have redone your scores here so that Constitution was 13 at this point, and something else like your Intelligence went up to 10 or 9 or something like that. Because Resilient gives you that +1 to an ability score. But gaining proficiency in Constitution saving throws is what you use to keep concentration. So this would allow her to add her proficiency bonus to her saving throws. You also have some other things down here like Warcaster will do that same thing without having to adjust your ability scores. And you gain Shocking Grasp as a reaction. So she has several things that she can do here in her last choice. I'm going to take the ability improvement, and I'm going to get her wisdom up to 20. When we do the Mirror of Loss, I'm going to put that +2 into her constitution just to gain her more hit points. But you have a lot of choices with Shadowheart, or anybody at level 12 for that matter. So Astarion here, we started at Rogue, and we did that again because the proficiencies are starting at Dex, but we want them to end in Wisdom. So we're going to keep leveling up our Rogue here. We gain our bonus actions here for Hide, Disengage, and Dash. Level 3, we gain our subclass, which is what we want. Our subclass is going to be Thief for the additional bonus action. And at level 4, we're going to move into our multi-class. Now, for Astarion's multi-class, there are a few different ways to play out how you want his to go based upon what you want that final state of his to be. And what I really mean by that is what you're going to get at the higher level of Monk. So if we multi-class with 2 levels of Fighter, we gain Action Surge. That gains us a full complete action, which means with extra attack, we're going to gain 2 more attacks at full power from Astarion, and we can do that once per fight. Now, what that means is that we would be at 5 levels, and we would have 7 levels of Monk left to do. That would still get us key empowered strikes, but we would be only 6 levels of it, and we would be missing out on a second feat. Okay, we would only be able to get 1 feat, and if we're going with Tavern Brawler, that means that Astarion would not have Alert if we're going that way. So if you're trying to get Alert on everybody, then the only way this build really is going to work is if you do not take the fighter levels and you instead get 8 levels of Monk. Here you would actually be getting 9 levels of Monk, and that would get you your second feat. If you want that extra damage, that extra burst damage against a single target, because remember, it's once per short rest for your action surge, so it's once per fight you're in, then leveling him up and taking the 2 levels of fighter is the best way to go. We're going to be swapping back and forth between that. You will see me respec Astarion off stream to put 2 levels of fighter in when we go up against the bosses. Outside of that, though, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep him as a pure Monk from this point on. If I was going to go fighter, I would take the 2 fighter levels now and then do Monk at the end. But for now, you'll kind of see what we get as we get up to level 9 Monk and the 2 feats that we're going to get. Okay, so Monk level 2, we're going to gain our unarmored movement. So we're going to be able to move all over the battlefield here. Monk level 3 is our subclass. Now, you are also going to see me, probably for one particular fight, change my subclass. But right now, we're going to take Way of the Open Hand, and that gets us our bonus action flurries. Way of the Shadow, and having the ability to shadow teleport is going to be very, very useful for one particular fight, and I may change into it for that, but for now, it's Way of the Open Hand. And our first feat, we're guaranteed to take Tavern Brawler. And that's because we want the additional strength modifier to our unarmed attack roll, or unarmed attack damage. And this is going to up my constitution to 16. Okay, at level 5 monk, we get extra attack. We also gain stunning strike, which is incredibly useful. Level 6 monk, we start gaining our additional damage types that allows us to put in 1d4 plus 3 of any of the 3 particular damage types. We're also getting key empowered strikes, which we're going to learn about here more in a little bit, and wholeness of body, which is just straight healing, where we're going to regain key points and have an extra bonus action. So that extra bonus action for 3 turns, again, with key points being regenerating and the flurry of blows, is a bunch of extra damage. Okay, monk level 7 is going to get us evasion, so now we automatically gain half damage to all dexterity saves against spells. If we pass the saving throw, we avoid all damage. Stillness of mind means that we can't be charmed or frightened, but we're not going to be able to be that anyway because of a buff we get in camp. At level 8, we get our second feat, and I am taking alert. And at level 9, we gain key resonance. Now, key resonance are all based around force damage. And what you do is you use your action instead of just normally attacking with your fists. You use a key resonating punch. Okay, you can do it with either your action or your bonus action if you want, but I'm going to be using my bonus actions for flurry of blows. However, if I'm out of key points, this is where this comes in handy. And you can, as soon as you hit somebody with it, they begin to resonate. They'll get an outline around them. And then at the end of your turn, after you have punched and bonus action punched a whole bunch of people and they're all resonating, you can then detonate that blast, and everybody who's resonating will take 3d6 force damage. And that is an AoE blast radius. So if they're all standing next to each other, then they're all going to take damage from each other when that blast goes off. So this is just another way of doing damage using the normal attacks that we would be doing anyway. And last is Karlach. And I said I started Karlach off as a rogue, and there's a reason for that. Don't really care much about these, but the bonus action dash can be very nice for her. I want to get her to level 3 and choose subclass Thief so that she gains an additional bonus action. Now, why do I want to do that? Okay, at level 4, we're going to change her to Barbarian. Okay, this is going to change her over to Strength. Okay, at level 2, Reckless Attack, but we don't use it very much. Level 3, when we get to choose our subclass here, and we choose Berserker, this gives us Enraged Throw. Enraged Throw knocks targets prone, but it also deals additional damage. It says you deal additional damage based on your strength, but it's also a bonus action. So now when we rage, or when we frenzy, in this case, it's not rage, when we frenzy, we are now going to be able to do 2 enraged throws per turn. So that doubles her amount of enraged throwing damage and can possibly knock 2 targets prone. So now instead of having 3 throwing attacks per round, she's got 4 whenever she is frenzied. And that's why I started out in Rogue. Okay, so our first feat for her is always going to be Tavern Brawler to allow us to add our strength, and that's why she has an odd strength number, is so that I can add our strength modifier to the damage and attack rolls that we get. Gaining the extra attack here is very, very nice. We also gain fast movement, so we're going to be gaining more movement speed. Level 6, we gain an additional rage charge and mindless rage, so she can't be charmed or frightened now. Now, here again is where you make a choice. We are at level 7 barbarian, or we can choose whether to be level 4, but this is at level 10, so we've only got 2 levels after this to level up. So if we took 2 levels of fighter here for bonus action, we would not have enough to get a second feat out of her at barbarian. So let's, was that true? Yeah, because we have 2 levels after this. So we'd be at level 7 barbarian, which isn't enough to get us our second feat. We want to get her alert, so I'm going to keep her here and get Feral Instinct. So Feral Instinct gains us a +3 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. So if you're trying to avoid having to take alert, then this would be an option to do it. And this is kind of how we're going to go. We're going to gain a +3 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. Alert gives us a +5. So we're going to be missing out on a +2 for that. But we're going to now take 2 levels in fighter to gain something as a replacement for alert. Okay, and our fighting style here, we're just going to take defense. Or are we? We do wear a shield. Because we're not wearing armor with Karlach. And I didn't think about this when I thought about this, the fighting style. I don't think dueling works with throwing an item. But since we are using a shield anyway, if we do use it for a melee strike, then we would be gaining a +2 damage with it. And here, this is going to gain us bonus action from fighter, or action surge. Okay, and now we are kind of at the forms that we're going to keep for most of the rest of the game. Like I say, with Astarion, I'll be changing him in and out of a couple of things, but not right this instant. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the normal buff ups that we need to do. So we will get Long Strider on everybody.
Wafted her skulls. Odin's
Okay, we do have the Deva Mace on our back.
Wits
So
and blades
Shadowheart.
always sharp.
We'll take the Drake Throat Glaive and add in all damage. This is going to go to Karlach, and this is going to go to Karlach. Okay, and then Karlach is going to take off the Dwarven Thrower. She's going to shapeshift into a female dwarf. And then she's going to put the Dwarven Thrower back on to gain her that additional 1d8 bludgeoning damage. And swap back out of those.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, and we're going to take off the Ring of Geniality. And put back on the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. We don't... Actually, I might leave that swapped out for something else. I don't think there's anything I would need it for. I guess we can put Killer Sweetheart back on. The Helm of Arcane Acuity, the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, and the Brain Drain Gloves. We're going to be utilizing these three in concert with each other when we get to certain bosses. Certain bosses, if they get to take a turn, they have a chance to do some really serious damage during that turn. If we roll before them, we can have these three things on, and we can hopefully make them completely skip their turn. Whenever we deal damage with a weapon attack, we gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. We have 2 attacks per round on my Bard, which means I can gain a +4 in Arcane Acuity. That means that all of my spells have a +4 to the DC of it. Okay, which means that they're +4 harder to resist when I cast them against somebody. When I deal psychic damage, I also inflict mental fatigue for 2 turns. Well, I can deal psychic damage here because of my because of the strange conduit ring. Sorry. So everything is going to add 1d4 psychic damage to every attack while I'm concentrating on Hex. And that means that if I hit them twice, I'm going to give them 4 turns of mental fatigue. Mental fatigue gives them a -1 penalty to Wisdom, Intelligence, and Charisma saving throws. So that's a -4 for them, a +4 for me, and then my bonus action, after I've hit them with a weapon attack, I can cast enchantment spells as a bonus action. That bonus action for enchantment spells, Hold Person, is an enchantment spell. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is an enchantment spell. So now what I can do is hit them with the Deva Mace twice, give myself a +4 to hit with the spell, give them a -4 to resist with the spell, and then cast Hold Person on them, and have a really high chance that they're going to be susceptible to it. And then all the attacks after that are auto crits while they are on the ground. This also, with Tasha's Laughter, it's not auto crits, but it takes them out of their turn. So Tasha's is a level 1 spell, Hold Person's a level 2 spell, so it kind of depends on what spell slots I have. This could be very, very useful against the bosses. So that's why I'm keeping the combination of these 3 things on me for those boss fights. But for now, since I'm not going to be getting into boss fights today, Killer Sweetheart is perfectly fine to keep on me and use. So let's make sure we have all of our reactions clicked. We do.
I'm ready.
We do. And you see Divine Strike, Thunder. So every time we deal damage, it's going to ask us if we want to deal an additional 1d8 thunder damage. Destructive Wrath is also in there. Wrath of the Storm, Thunder, and Lightning. Whenever somebody attacks us, we can retaliate.
Don't touch me.
Okay, so Sneak Attack, Luck of the Far Realms, we all want to have these activated. Deflect Missiles is a monk ability. If we have a key point, or as a reaction, we can deflect a ranged attack. If we have a key point, we can throw that ranged attack back at the attacker.
I'd love to, thanks.
And I don't think we have... Oh yeah, we have the sneak attacks, but these aren't really going to apply with Karlach.
Must lug my guts through this hell.
Okay, and the last thing that we want to do is go to camp. Going to bring my Bard over here and talk to Zenith.
This vessel is at thy disposal.
But the vessel only stares
Hey, I'm going to leave
blankly.
Astarion here.
This
Going to bring Shadowheart up here. Going to bring Karlach up here. Zenith is going to cast Hero's Feast.
Nothing hurts anymore.
Then I'll bring
Just what I
Astarion back
need.
in.
So, Shadowheart chose her family over her god. I hope she doesn't come to regret it. Perhaps if you lost a follower, excellent.
Okay, so now we're almost
lies
fully
before
buffed
me.
up. There's one buff that I'm missing. I'm missing the Sweetstone Features buff, and that's because I changed class after I had long rested. We're not going to need it for this long rest, so I'm not too worried about it. But we're going to head back to the Lower City Central Wall, and we're going to continue on with our quests here. Okay, and for that, we're going to head down this direction.
Awaken, little one. Flower and bloom.
Okay, and we're going to head down to this door here.
Distinct whiff of undeath to this place. Though, curious.
Okay, so we passed the perception check here on the door. Remember last time, and we're gonna go talk to Nine Fingers King in a little bit. But free the artist. We need to go to Mystic Carrion. Okay. It says to bring the letter Carrion's mansion and provides a password that will grant entry. So if we click on the door,
Set into the mansion's faded exterior, you see the faintest outline of a door. An entrance designed to provide the utmost discretion. The door pulses with a heavy, melancholic magic. Whatever lies behind it concerns the living and the dead. You sense it waits for the right words. It requires permission to open.
okay, and we learned that that was Secreta Mortuorum from the last time.
The door shudders. It has no choice but to let you inside.
Now you can pick that door. That door is marked as red, so you want to be in hiding while you're doing it. but you can pick that door, and the DC is a DC 30. So if you want to get in here and do this before you go up to Lady Janet's estate, you certainly can, but you don't need to. You can just use the password to get in here. So once you come in here, you've got a closed door here. All right, now we're going to go in there here in a second. But first, we're going to head up here, and the camera gets a little wonky. Because at the top of the stairs, we have a red door here. So we're going to get Astarion shape-shifted.
New touches, new tones.
Okay, and we're going to swap out for the smuggler's ring here, just for this. I don't think you have to be in hiding for this, but I'll go into hiding anyway. Okay, it's a DC 15. There's our nat 1. Got that out of the way early. Okay, so now we'll put the Eversight ring back on.
Still breathing, despite everything. Moving ahead.
Okay, and I'm going to close the door behind me. And you see we have some ghouls up here. Okay. And that was a mistake, but it doesn't really matter. If they see you interact with the door, you're going to get negative attitude with them. But again, it doesn't really matter. Once you get too close to the stairway...
Not allowed up. Must go down. Customers downstairs.
Okay. So... Amate normally doesn't just stand here.
What do you want me to do? Arrest the smell?
Okay. This is interesting.
Where's the steel watch when you need 'em?
He normally doesn't just stand here.
Awaken, little one. Flower and bloom as I know you can.
Okay, so I'm going to go into turn-based mode and see if I can get around behind him.
That's a friendly-looking shadow. Best be on my way.
What a day. This way.
Not allowed up.
Bit of caution never hurt.
Not go up.
Yeah, this is kind of messed up here.
Well,
Because
hello.
Hamate normally doesn't
Step
stand
quick.
here. But I'm going to move everybody around behind him. It looks like
Whatever
they're
it
not
takes.
triggering yet, which is
This
fine.
way.
When I get close,
Not go up.
yeah. So it looks like I just have to get everybody around behind him
What's cooking?
and skip the conversation.
Yeah.
Probably just a dead cat. Maybe a few dead cats.
How's a dead cat making a stink like that?
Okay, so now we're back here.
Bated breath.
Time to kill.
I'm going to move everybody up the stairs.
Nice and easy.
I have to survive this.
I could go for a good meal. I'm nothing.
Okay. And up here, we're going to have 3 more. Thenar is a ghast, so we definitely want to focus on him as soon as we can. And again, the ghouls are going to have the paralyzing strike. So we want to get rid of these 3 as quickly as we can here. And to do that, we're going to move Astarion right up here in the middle of everybody. Okay. And now we have key resonating punch. Okay. Our normal punch is here. There's no reason to use the normal punch anymore. We can use key resonating punch instead. My passives, I'm going to put psychic damage on. Now, these do not become steeped in bliss. Undead do not. But now I'm going to start off with a flurry of blows against Thenar here. Okay, that got me a surprise round, which is awesome. Okay, so now let's go with our key resonating punches. Okay. Our second bonus action. We're going to go with a key resonating punch in our bonus action, and we're going to use it against Thenar here. Yes. Okay, and then we're going to come around this side.
This way.
And we're going to key resonating punch him. Okay, and now we don't have any actions or bonus actions left, but we have 9 key points, and this takes 1 key point to detonate it. And it gives us a radius around whoever's resonating. Okay, and you see they were all close enough that they took damage from each other's blasts. So Carpal succeeded on it, but I blasted him and Rectus blasted others, and they all damaged each other as well as taking the damage from me. Okay, so it's an easy way to finish off a group of enemies that are low on health all at once, and we didn't do anything different. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit spacebar. That won't matter as much though. So
Keeping my head
I'm gonna
down.
take my bard down here. No, let's not. Let's get all of us,
in the dark.
because we're not in combat yet.
The mission has to come first. Best step softly.
Ready for some good news. Light as air.
The dance macabre.
And we will let them come to us up here. Looks like he's frozen in place, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So again, key resonating punch. Oh yeah, I'm adding in the passive for manipulation. I was like, why am I doing psychic damage? It's because of that.
Let's do it.
And I don't need to spend any more key points on him. I don't even have to use any bonus actions on him. That will make me invisible again. I'll move away, and if he does come up here... yeah, he seems to be stuck in place for some reason. He's not normally stuck in place like that.
Off guard.
Not entirely sure why.
Time to press ahead.
Doesn't matter, though. We'll take advantage of it. And for my main hand attack, I'll just start it off.
Let's get in and out.
And it's a kill. Now, none of them are going to have anything on them.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Okay, but we can search while we're up here. Oh, and I didn't even get Astarion. Oh, yeah, right. I moved those over to Karlach. That was without any of the additional bonus damage from the higher strength. So,
Have a lot on my
yeah,
mind.
Astarion's going to be OP,
well,
and he's not even all the way up
Watch
to
your
his
back.
OP-ness yet. We're going to be getting him there pretty quick,
mind
though,
if I
because
do.
we are not going to wait on our next boss enemy that we're going to fight. And again, I think one of them has... maybe it's Thenar. Nope, nobody has anything on them. I thought one of them had a letter or something on them, but they don't. Take the gold pendant.
On my way.
Take the bedroll. And then over here, we have another door. Now, before you go in here...
What's next, I wonder?
have Shadowheart with her advantage on, I think it's perception. It is.
Death magic.
She
better than
perceived
poetry.
the beggar's portrait. Now, the beggar's portrait I want to interact with, but there's an arcana check
On I go.
that goes along with this.
Unseen. Perfect.
And it's a pretty steep one to do. So if we look at our proficiencies here, everybody is at -1 on arcana checks. Okay. Now there are ways that we can improve that. We have Mage's Friend that we can add in to Shadowheart. We also have the Warped Headband of Intellect, which we can add in to Shadowheart. We can shapeshift her. No. We want to be... Okay, and then we'll put those two back on. And then... Guidance. So now her Arcana is +4, plus what she's
must
going to
keep
get
going.
from Guidance and Mark of the Shifter. And I don't want anybody else being
that blood?
anywhere near this.
No, never mind.
And we'll try and make the check. And it's a DC 15. And I failed. We are going to use an inspiration on this. full inspirations. Oh, jeez. Just barely. I rolled well on Mark of the Shifter and Guidance. Okay, and this is going to give us Thrumbo's note. Okay, if we read this, we find out about somebody called Thrumbo, and that they were trying to get away from Mystic Carrion. They were going to go down to the shore and buy a small boat and meet at the usual spot on the beach. Okay, so now I can put her normal gear back
I
on.
have such a headache.
I wonder what the next move is.
And in here we have a chest.
No one quiet.
It's going to have some various potions in it and written exorcisms. Nothing in here that you need to know about. But the crawler mucus is really nice. Being able to paralyze somebody from range.
Need to press onward. Have to keep pushing.
And now we are finished
What to do?
up here.
If not over, then through.
I believe. And this just leads me outside. I don't think there's
Careful,
anything really
I
worth
might.
having out here,
A crooked touch.
but we'll pick it. IDC. Ooh, that could be a big roll.
I've got a long road ahead.
Okay, now this allows you to get out here on the rooftop. There's nothing out here on this roof, even on the upper ones. I've checked it all out already, but it does give you access to the roof here, which might allow you to gain access to the roof here with fly, or a really high strength jump. But yeah, nothing else out here.
Need to find a way forward.
So we'll head back downstairs. If we can pick up a few things here.
Money isn't a crime.
Ready.
Shaunty, bless these
Certainly.
Some crafting ingredients. Some other stuff that we'll be able to sell. More crafting ingredients. Okay, there is a note here, which basically you start to learn a little bit more about what Carrion does here. He basically does favors in exchange, or he does stuff in exchange for favors from the rich and powerful here in the city. Oil of combustion, not all that great. Cloud kill scroll, that's really nice. And another one talking about how Mystic Carrion is not what he seems, and they want to get away from him.
I need to concentrate.
Now Astarion again, and I think this is another high DC lockpick. Nope, it's not. It's just regular. Ooh, tried to fail it.
beautiful. If only it was fresh.
Okay, and then in here, various things that we can search and pick up. And again, the camera's going to get a little wonky in here. Another soul coin for Karlach.
It's mine now.
There are some severed body parts that we can pick up. And then there's a stone wall here. Okay. Now, going down here is fine. It's just best if you do it one at a time, and you do it in hiding. Okay, and that's because we're now down on the floor that has Mystic Carrion's room in it. And sometimes, for some weird reason, you can get seen through the walls. Okay, so I'm going to head down into the hatch. Okay, and we end up in Philgrave's mansion in the basement. And I'm going to bring Shadowheart down here as well.
Better tread carefully.
I have need of you.
Yeah, so you can see kind of detection cones, like, peeping through the walls a little bit. It's a little weird. And you don't want to anger Mystic Carrion yet. We want to have a conversation with him, but we do want to explore down here. And this is all stuff I want to do now because I don't want to have to come back here and do all of this again off stream. So you just have to suffer through me looting a little bit. Too high to throw it. So a bunch of crafting ingredients. Some healing potions here in the blood bank. And a few items here on the shelves we can take.
Wits and blades, always sharp.
Okay, now Shadowheart. Okay, so she made the perception check. This hole here is another way into this basement from the outside. You have to have wild shape or gaseous form, something that will let you get through a small opening. If you do, it's another way in here. And I'm gonna refresh guidance.
Worth grabbing.
There's another severed hand here, which you can use as one of the severed hands that you need later on. We won't, though. Scroll of Eye Bite's really nice. More stuff that we can sell. And here we have a mummy's memories. And these are, again, some things that you learn about Mystic Carrion.
Lair in the Undercity ruins. That doesn't sound at all nefarious.
And you learn about a ruin in the Undercity, or a lair in the Undercity ruins that you want to visit. And we will be doing that. I think that's all I can pick up in here. Oop, there's a big pot over here to search. More crafting ingredients.
Onward in her name.
And yes, I think that's it. Okay. So, with these two, I'm going to send them to the lower city central wall again. For these two, going to send them to the lower city central wall. And now I'm going to make my way back down to go talk to Mystic Carrion. Now that I've completely searched out his house and looked through everything in it, we'll go talk to him. And while we're here, let's kind of move stuff around a little bit so I have all of my spells on my hotbar.
Awaken, little one. Flower and bloom as I know you can.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is move everybody down past here. Put everybody into hiding. Nobody ever comes down this far.
On my way.
I'm going to take my bard
Breathe
in here
deep
by
and
herself.
move.
Okay, and here's Mystic Carrion.
You do not have an appointment. Yet you seek an audience with Mystic Carrion. Ah, yes. You were drawn to me, a wanderer bearing the scent of death. You are familiar with the necromancy of Fae. I have heard the spirits whisper its name. Few books have the power to send a shiver through the living and the dead. Tell me, what did you make of its contents?
And we're getting this because we did read the Necromancy of Thay way back in Act 1.
Is that so? Then the book's protections must be broken before its true nature can be understood. Ah. But wait. My spirits stir. Our conversation appears to have disturbed them. They have a message for you. A most valuable one. I can summon them forth if you are willing to offer them suitable recompense. Safety is a concept immaterial to the spectral planes. It is sufficient to say, you will not be harmed. Oh no. She has forgotten you entirely. This message comes from spirits I have collected. Those with great knowledge in life, great wealth, great purpose. It is far more valuable. What a plague is the stubbornness of the living. Should you realize your mistake, feel free to return.
Okay, that conversation was
What's up for discussion?
interesting. It didn't play out. It didn't give me an option I was looking for. There.
Miscreants creeping around, a stink like death itself.
What do you want me to do? Arrest the smell?
Again, you disturb me. What else could you require of Mystic Carrion when he has offered so much already? The painter. Yes, I remember. He wanted to contact a tormented spirit. I gave him exactly what he desired, and for a pittance, given the complexity of his request. His inability to follow simple instructions is hardly my fault. If he wanted his safety guaranteed, that would have cost him extra. My clients are guaranteed absolute privacy in their consultations with myself and my spirits. I assume you came to me seeking an exorcism? I can provide you with the means to perform such a ceremony, but you understand, this is my livelihood. First, you must do something for me. Do not worry. It is of an earthly nature. It regards a conduit of mine, Thrumbo, who has recently deserted his duties. He has not gone far, but given the sensitivity of his nature, I would prefer that he is not free to roam the city. Return Thrumbo's body to me, then I will give you what you need to cleanse Oscar of his spectral interloper. It's quite simple. He resented having to work for a living. The undead can be rather lazy in that regard. He was always a simple, contented creature, a beggar to the bone. Perhaps he has forgotten how ungenerous the world can be, or simply prefers to live in the gutter. If he does not value the gift I gave in reanimating that wretched flesh of his, then I will take it back. It is my property, not his. Had I thought you were the type to shout his name from the rooftops, I would never have offered you the job. Thrumbo is not alone in his ingratitude. He has led others in my service astray. 3 of them, beggars and zombies alike. The others lack even Thrumbo's modicum of intelligence. It should be no great task to wring his location from one of them. Then, with the spirits herein our witnesses, the arrangement is made. They will follow your progress with great interest, as will I.
Okay, so we're going to talk to Mystic Carrion one more time.
My spirits told me you were capable, yet you stand in my presence, and Thrumbo is nowhere to be seen.
Because he's a
But
traitor.
of course, one must never be scared to part with gold. It's better spent than buried.
Okay, now the Hood of the Weave, the Armor of the Spore Keeper, and the Veil of the Morning here. These, once you, depending upon how you play this out, is going to determine what's going to be available when you deal with Mystic Carrion. So, the Hood of the Weave is really nice. A +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So for your casters, it's really, really nice to have. Armor of the Spore Keeper is one of the 3 Druid armor sets that you can get. This one for the Spore Druid. So you gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC whenever you deal necrotic damage, and you deal an additional 1 necrotic damage. I think this is a bit underpowered for when you find it. I think it should be a much higher number than that, but it is what it is. But the Spore Sacks is what is really useful about this armor. So whenever you have Symbiotic Entity going, you can then choose which type of spore you want to start utilizing. And haste spores are incredibly useful. Being able to use your bonus action to throw out a spot on the ground that you can run your characters through to gain haste is very, very useful. So that's what this is used for. The Bibberbang, not so much. Timask, though, being able to befuddle creatures basically is the same as Confusion. They just wander around, they can't take an action, and they just skip their turn, basically. Can also be very useful when you throw it out there. So for your Sporekeeper Druids, this is one of the best pieces of armor you can get. It's just not something I'm going to be focused on. And then last is Veil of the Morning. So it goes along with Hood of the Weave. So for Veil of the Morning, it's clothing. Undead have disadvantage on attack rolls against you, and you have advantage on saving throws against their actions and spells. Now, this is all undead. That includes vampires, just as a hint. So in a certain boss fight, this can be very, very useful, because it's saving throws against actions and spells. So if you have a ghoul that wants to come up and try and paralyze you, you're going to have advantage on that Constitution saving throw. Also against any of their spells that they're going to use, specifically things that one boss might use against you, you have advantage against those spells. So for a particular fight, it can be very, very useful. Now, other things that he's going to be selling, I'm going to pick up Dimension Door immediately here. Yeah, I'm going to pick up Dimension Door. That spell is way too useful, and I'm going to need it here in probably 2 episodes, I think. But he also sells some other things. I'm going to pick up a Cloud Giant Finger. I don't think I need anything else. And I'm not going to be spending enough here to up his attitude. If you're going to side with Mystic Carrion and you want these items, then you definitely want to up his attitude, because they're all 3,000 gold plus. So you definitely want to up his attitude to gain better prices on those. But I'm not going to right now. Now, sitting in the chest behind him is something that you're going to need later. So whether you end up killing Mystic Carrion or siding with him, you'll be getting that later. Okay, but right now,
Better be cautious.
we need to go find Mystic Carrion's servant. Okay? And the first thing we're going to do as part of this is look for Thrumbo's pals. He told us that Thrumbo has 3 other zombie companions. If we find them, we might be able to find out where Thrumbo went. Okay, so the first one is Lumbar here.
Seems like a good moment to talk.
Come to have a go. Give it your best shot.
An air of decay hangs over the stooped beggar's form. The same that tainted Mystic Carrion's chambers. This is one of his runaway servants.
Gold first. Then you can hit me. Carrion sent you. Shit. Don't think about trying anything. I'll fight back.
Okay, so I'm going to use persuasion here. Trying really hard to fail these rolls.
I suppose that's all right. Thrumbo's more of a talker than I am. Thrumbo was going to get us a boat, but I haven't heard from him since. He must be somewhere near the water. I just hope he didn't drown.
Okay, so we learned he's somewhere near the water. So the next one that we're going to go find, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get this one. I think we can. I actually haven't tried this. We're going to head back not that way. We're going to head this way through the gate.
Those absolutists love my control. You too far.
I know, but moaning isn't helping. The cultists took control of my fiancé.
And I think he's over here. Because this is Beehive's General Goods. Yeah, I think he's right here. Yep, he's right there. I don't know if we're going to be able to get this or not. I think when we walk up here, this thing's going to explode. But, oh well, if it does. Yeah.
Just... yes. Arms for the poor?
An air of decay hangs over the stooped beggar's form, the same that tainted Mystic Carrion's chambers. This is one of his runaway servants.
Anything you can spare for a humble beggar? Thrumbo? Is he in trouble?
So again, persuasion, we have advantage on it from Paladin.
You do seem the honest type. I can always tell.
Thrumbo had a plan. He was going to find us an abandoned house. Somewhere to hide away from Carrion.
Okay. So we'll come up here and deal with Araj here in a little bit. We don't have to deal with her now. And the next one is we're going to go over here to the lower city central wall again. And this time we're going to head north. We're not going to go into see Helsic yet. But we are going to go here into the graveyard.
Not enough graves. Never enough.
And there's my Dark Urge.
You're not allowed to play.
Come out, sister. I will find you.
An air of decay hangs over the stooped beggar's form, the same that tainted Mystic Carrion's chambers. This is one of his runaway servants.
Sister always hides from me. She likes to play. Thrumbo said not to tell anyone where we went.
So again, Paladin Persuasion.
I can. That's good, because I like you. You're nice. Like Thrumbo. He told me what to do, but he said it very quickly. I didn't understand. All I remember is down the stairs, across the sand, down the stairs, across the sand.
Okay, so now we're looking for down the stairs, across the sand. And where we need to go is Heapside Strand. Because here are the stairs. Now, when I get here...
Soldier. Steady.
I can't remember if I can stay hidden here or not.
My faith will guide me.
The wandering people, I can't remember if they turn and come up the stairs or not.
Noticed. Good. Never a dull moment.
But I'm gonna head
Wanted
down
the easy
here.
path.
And I'm gonna get into a fight. So we had some Sahagin who have now popped out of the ground here. Okay.
I'd love to, thanks.
So I'm going to bring Karlach out here.
Sneak,
And
sneak.
get her into the fight. From the high ground here. And again, I don't know if where she's going to roll in initiative. But let's have her throw Nyrolna all the way down here. That's going to damage them. This is going to do 3d12 thunder in a 6-meter radius. There's a chance that these two might die if I throw Nyrolna. So, let's not. Because they are wet, so they're susceptible to lightning damage, which means that 1d4 turns into 2d4 for lightning damage.
One, two.
Okay, so she rolled first, so we'll frenzy. And we'll throw again. Yeah, we'll throw again.
What to do it?
And there's our first kill. Now we do have a second bonus action. And this is what's nice about having the second bonus action is we can frenzy and then on the same turn we can do an enraged throw. Okay, normally your bonus action is used up by frenzy, but here it's not. We have an additional one. Okay, and that's going to drop one of our detection cones off here.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
So from here, I can't reach. Maybe I can here. So let's... Do I think I'm going to get close enough here? I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to get close enough to use my...
Can't slow down.
Let's go check it. I can. Perfect. Because now I can hex. Flashing Flourish melee on them both. Ooh, jeez, that hurt. I don't need any Divine Smites on this. Okay, so I don't have enough for that. I do have enough for that. Okay, so that will knock out some more detection cones.
Really? Now?
Whatever comes, I'm
And
ready.
Shadowheart from up here. Is going to cast darkness on these two here. Not the civilian.
Let's see.
And now with all the deaths, she's able to walk down here and get enough range to be able to cast it without being detected. Okay, and now Astarion,
Move unseen.
because these are all friendly detection cones, I think he can walk through these. But if he doesn't, he should roll in front of them. Yeah, so... Yeah, for some reason, I'm not entirely sure why that was like that. Because he should have been able to walk between them. But even without it, he's got the Eversight ring on.
Outmaneuver them.
So here with 92 and 49, we're going to key Resonating Punch here. And they are steeped in Bliss, so they're vulnerable to psychic damage, which we have on. So we'll key Resonating Punch this one. Okay, so he's dead. Now we'll Flurry of Blows here. Okay, we'll key Resonating Punch with our... either one of these, he's dead. It's not going to matter. Okay, now I can detonate him. And hopefully we'll move toward this Sahagin Hunter and take the incoming attack either with my Bard or with Astarion instead of on the other two.
Well, so much for peace.
Fuck yes.
Okay, Karlach doesn't need to do anything.
Got to keep fighting.
Shadowheart can move up. She has a 21 armor class.
Got to move.
She also has her full action left here. So we can redo that darkness. And put it on everybody out here. That way you can't shoot into it. And he's not going to be able to move around enough to shoot around it to hit into the others, I don't think. If he does try and move around, I'll be here to get an attack of opportunity. Okay, so yeah, they all just decided to skip their turns because they couldn't do anything against us. I'll reapply Hex here. It's not really needed, but might as well. I can't get over there.
Hungry for the slaughter.
And Astarion will finish him off.
Quickly.
And again, he doesn't need to do anything special here. Easy peasy.
Thank you for cutting those creatures down, truly. Gods know what would have happened if you weren't here.
Okay, and they're going to give us a bonus for protecting the civilians.
Never heard of one attacking the city before, though.
Keep focused. Looking ahead.
Okay, now there's a nature check over here.
Thought I'd get used to the smell of fish by now. Not that smell.
I think.
I think I might have had my fill of fish for the next few 10 days.
Having these things lying around is bad for business.
Can't remember where it is. Well, let's go search the Sahagin here.
I wonder.
Because they're all going to have some pearls and some camp supplies and that sort of stuff on them. Don't want to take anything else down here. It's all marked as steel. And we'll have Karlach pick up the lightning jabber again.
Hey, good looking.
Watch your back. Yes, let's. Don't mind if I do.
And Astarion picked up the smelly bag, which has a waterlogged letter in it. You can read this where it says, if you're reading this, I'm probably dead. Trapped underwater by madmen, explosives everywhere, no way out. Praying for help, Marjorie, Quentin, Holly, I love you all. You're going to find out more about what that means a little bit later on. But somebody out here in the water was sending messages about the fact that they're trapped. And they're surrounded by explosives. So like I say, we'll learn more about that later.
I must.
And yeah, Astarion, it actually is
On my way.
pretty good. This is the highest form of it right now. And having that additional bonus action really makes her frenzy useful. Now, there's another subclass, which is coming in patch 8, which will make that build even better. And we are certainly going to be changing to it if patch 8 comes out in a reasonable amount of time. They said it was going to be in January. I don't actually think it's going to be in January. But so I don't know how much of this playthrough we'll have left. before those new subclasses come out. But those 2 new subclasses would be very, very useful for my Bard and for my for Karlach. But we just might not be able to get to use them because we're almost done with the playthrough by the time they come around. Okay, so Astarion here.
Shall we?
Going to go into hiding.
Intestines throb, blood whispers.
And I'm going to take
Very
my
well.
Bard in here.
Keep your blade close.
At least things have stayed interesting.
And I'm going to interact with the wardrobe.
Leave me be. What are you doing in here?
The man's stench is unmistakable. Death, decay, despair. This must be Thrumbo, the runaway Mystic Carrion was so eager for you to retrieve.
This is my spot. Go on, find your own. Mystic Carrion? You're working for him? Oh no. No. I knew he wouldn't let us leave in peace. You don't have to help him. He's the one you should be after, not me. You've met him. How can you need more justification than that? He murdered me. Murdered my friends, snatched us right up from the dockside and made us these things. Monsters. Fit for gutting and grinding and desecrating the dead. He constantly abuses us. Makes us do the worst things you can imagine. There used to be 5 of us. My friend Talus, he couldn't take it anymore. One day, I saw him drive a coffin nail right through Carrion's skull. Then another, and another. We thought he had done it. Freed us all. Then when dawn came, Talus seized up suddenly like something had got a grip of him. We ran to help, but he just exploded. I got so much blood and pulp in my eyes. When I looked back, Carrion was just stood there, completely unharmed.
Okay, so here's where you make a choice on who you want to side with. I'm going to side with Thrumbo here while I do this, but you can choose to side with Mystic Carrion if you would like. There's no real big impacts on the overall storyline, however you want to do it, but I'm going to do it this way.
We'd have to stop him resurrecting somehow. But I don't know how. Since Talus died, I've been watching Carrion, trying to figure out his secret, and I think he's a mummy lord. After Talus died, Carrion blindfolded me and took me into a strange place. A foul and ancient place. Somewhere the living wouldn't dare to tread. Down there, he showed me a jar. Said it contained the secret to eternal life. And if I behaved, he would share it with me. I think it was his heart. I'm not stupid. I know what he did to my friend. Gods, how I'd love to smash that bastard jar. That's how you kill mummy lords, you know. I'm not sure, but in the house, beneath Carrion's salon, there's a chamber. He never lets anyone down there, so it must be hiding something important. Perhaps it's there. But be careful if you return to Carrion. he'll know you spoke to me. Make sure he doesn't see or smell you. He'll turn you into one of us, and he'll know I sent you. I don't want to die like Talus did. I want to live. Well, you know what I mean.
Okay, so we have... So here, he used to work from an ancient subterranean crypt. If we find the lair, we're bound to find some of his secrets. We need to look for it in the sewers. Okay. He warned us that Mystic Carrion will keep resurrecting unless we find a jar with his heart and destroy it. So, I actually am really looking forward to the mediocre because they're going to be focusing on two things that I really wanted to see since the start of the game. The first is the Hexblade Warlock, which is what I'm playing a version of with my Bard. So yes, that's the biggest impact. I've been waiting for that, and all of us have who've played tabletop. I've been waiting for that for a long time. So, but yes, I'm anxious to play them. I just don't know how much time in the playthrough I'll have left once they come out. So with Thrumbo,
you came back. Please, tell me you found a way to destroy Mystic Carrion. Then please, hurry.
Okay, we have been down into the area underneath his salon. And we read it. Okay. Well, we're going to go down to the ancient lair anyway. And then we'll come back and talk to him once we've done it. Okay, nothing else in here. The beach house hatch key we want. Oh. Okay. Well, we're not gonna spend any more time up here.
With haste.
Because we need to go down and find this ancient lair of his. That's here. And that's down in the sewers, but before we go to the sewers, we're going to go one more place. Because it's not just his heart jar that we can find. His heart jar is what we need to actually kill him, but there are 3 other things that we can find that will debuff him. He has some buffs when you encounter him in the fight, and there is a way to remove those buffs by destroying some other jars.
That might be worth a look. Can't risk being in open view.
Okay, and we need to get into the mortuary to do that. Now you need to watch out for Mortart Gracie here.
I'm just waiting.
And you don't have to lockpick this. There's actually a key upstairs. But this lockpick is so easy that I'm just going to pick it. And then you want to take everybody down there at once. Once you're down here, you can exit turn-based mode.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
We'll cast guidance on Shadowheart.
I'll take this way.
We'll go over to these doors, and then sitting here, you can see it. The glowing necromantic jar here is a jar of Mystic Carrion's lungs.
This thing has a
Okay,
chill
now
of
we
death
can
to
take
it.
a bunch of
Necromantic
other
magic.
stuff from down here, and we're going to. We're just going to take everything that we can.
I
'Cause
should
there's a
take
lot
that.
of crafting ingredients down here. I don't think any of those have anything. And again, just more stuff that we can sell. Corpse rose is a nice crafting ingredient. Dye here. Okay, and in here, some more things that we can pick up. But we got what we really came for, and that was Mystic Carrion's lungs. A few more crafting ingredients and camp supplies here. Okay, and now we don't want to leave here by walking up the stairs, because you don't know if there's a detection cone that's on top of you or not when you go out. But we're not red bordered here, we can fast travel. So we're going to fast travel out to the Basilisk Gate. Okay. Now, the lungs
No time to waste.
are marked as a quest item, because they are, for the quest that we're picking up here. And now
No
we're going
time
to
to
head
waste.
around the corner and head down to the sewers. Now, this is not the one I don't think that we want to end up
Mind never quiet.
going
Let's
down,
see.
but let's go over here and head down. Okay. So,
Should mind my step.
it's not here. Yeah, here's.
Something over there.
My little trick.
What to do?
Whoops.
Pave my path with corpses. Build my castle with bones.
Okay, now this area is somewhat limited on where you can go. We'll look at this here in a second. Okay, but there's not a whole lot down here. what this door is useful for is, or what this section of the sewer is useful for, is this back area here. We'll do a little searching around here. And this door. Okay, now we'll get Astarion to pick this.
Should be easy.
But we're not going to go in here this way. Pretty high DC. Wow, all the nat ones that advantage is just canceling out. The huge benefit that advantage gets you. It's like the third or fourth nat one that we've seen on there.
Mind never quiet.
Okay, but through that door
Walk
is
in
the
death.
guild hall. But like I say, we're not going to go in that way, and we're not going to go in there yet. Okay, so here we have this area with these nauseous fumes in it. But you can see that there's a lever there.
Trust no one.
Whoops, we
Father,
need to get
they will die
my
for
bard
you.
out of the way. Take Astarion over here. Now, with Astarion's high strength, he can jump all the way over here. Then he can shoot the lever. And that will turn off all of the vents. Okay. Now, there's some stuff through this door up here that we're going to end up going that way, but not yet.
Squaw! It's not safe here. It's too late for me, but not for you. Run as fast as your legs can carry you. Orin the Red. She seized me from our camp, bore me here to Baal's enclave. She slit my belly and filled her cup with my blood. A toast, she said, to her false god. She told me when her cup ran dry, she'd come for the rest of me. I'm done for. I will hold her off as long as I'm able. Run while you still can. Don't even think about fighting her. This foe is too powerful. You'd underestimate Orin the Red. The last mistake you'll ever make.
Look at it, crawling and sniffing and rooting around in the filth. Is it my netherstone you seek, little piggy? Hush, hush. Orin will take care of you and your little pet. Nothing. No, not a thing. Still gasping and gagging on the foul airs of Baal's temple. I will not slice. Her kind die too easily. The Murder Lord demands a better offering. A child of Baal. One whose veins pump with his poison. I know my slaughter kin is near. So does our father. He wants to see us duel, to taste. We shred each other on his unholy soil. But not yet. Not until my kin proves worthy. The tyrant Gortash must be slaughtered. His netherstone must be taken. Step in my domain while the tyrant still sucks air, and I will carve your failure into your pretty plaything's skull. Bring me his stone, and I will set the bait free. Only then can the duel begin. My bloodkin and I will create exquisite carnage. The victor will set the world to slaughter. That is Baal's offer. He will not make another.
Unusual runes are etched on the slate, forming an array of arcs and circles.
Yeah, don't expect to pass this, but I don't need to either. And I roll a 19.
Magical energy courses through the slate. You're flooded with understanding. A mystical map glows before you, revealing the Githyanki crash within a temple at the mountain pass. The slate also reveals the Githyanki's purpose. They are combing the Sword Coast in search of a polyhedric relic of great importance to their queen.
Now you've seen a bug that's been reported to Larian a few times. This conversation is rather unique, and honestly, I forgot it was here. Or else I would have come down here with my bard instead, because we're not going through here yet. But that conversation has a bug in it where for some reason it replays the whole Githyanki slate that you find outside, or that you find at the bridge way back in Act 1. It plays out that whole interaction again. I have no idea what code could be referencing all the way back there, but it does, so it's rather strange. So we're gonna get everybody else. Actually, before I do that,
close. Watch the shadows.
Yeah. I can get rid of this here too, I guess.
Silent as the grave.
Wasn't planning to do this here, but I can. I believe if I jump over there, there's a plate I'm going to hit. So let's start this with a key resonating punch here. Okay. We'll get a flurry of blows here. I forgot about her unstoppable. We'll get a key resonating punch here, and I don't care about the attack of opportunity. Okay, we'll get a key resonating punch bonus action here. Oh, I got made immobile because of that sentinel attack. Yep. So I can't attack her at all, but nope. Let's detonate this. Okay, that removed the last bit of unstoppable on her. And I guess I'm just not close enough to reach her from there. Yep, I guess it's just out of range. Not a problem.
Time for a soft touch. Let's get going. Light on my feet.
I think you take damage coming down here. Oh no, there's this one little spot. Let's see if everybody's smart enough to jump into that spot. Well, looks like it.
Let's see what this does.
Okay, so let's see if we can move over here. And that won't knock her off of there. Why not? Is it just an angle thing? It looks like it. So let's see if I can move her closer to Astarion.
Can you feel death's cold grip?
Yeah, nice. That's what I was hoping to do. Get her within range of Astarion now. That was a problem. As soon as you get within range of Astarion, you've got some issues.
Hey, good looking. Whisper mode.
Okay, so we'll start off with a throw here.
Good idea, Karlach.
Okay, and then we'll throw the Dwarven thrower, and this should be it. Perfect. So Astarion took a little bit of damage there, but not a big deal. Put on the parry apt. Oh, right. He doesn't have the pouch anymore. I need to, I keep forgetting about that. I moved all of these onto Karlach instead of him.
I've got a long road ahead.
Okay, so let's do some searching here. Another murderer's cut. We don't need any more of those. We'll send that off to camp.
Let's be quick. What's in here?
Okay, the refugees didn't make it. Not too torn up about that, though.
Myself.
Alright, now we can go out this door over here.
No one stopped me yet. No traps, please.
Okay, now we're in the sewers
One
proper
day I'll
here.
catch a break.
Okay, this area here, we're not going to get to yet. Ooh, that was close. I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot about that trap.
I have such a headache. Another step forward.
What now? With pleasure.
And we're coming about this backward. Like I say, this isn't the way you normally come through this area here. There are much easier ways to get into the sewer than coming at it this way. But 6 of one, half dozen the other. Okay, and this is into the lower part of the sewers, and we want to get over here and get this waypoint. For the city sewers, and this is just going to make it a lot easier for us to get back here in the future. Pick up some rotten foods that we can sell it later. Okay. And now we can look around the map a little bit here and see where we're going. So, we actually can go through here. You know, we might end up delaying. That might be a good idea. We might end up just delaying the ancient lair until next week. We're going to have
Swift as my feet can carry me.
an encounter in here. Right here is Arabella. Okay, a scroll of wall of stone. Nice.
Very well.
Arabella seems not to notice you as you approach. She's as intent on examining a peculiar stone as she is unbothered by the corpses littered on the ground.
Hey! I had a feeling you'd show up. It's sort of our thing, like it's fate or something. Check out the stone. It's magic. Incredible, right?
Okay, again, not really interested in passing this.
The stone buzzes with unfamiliar magic.
Oh, you can't see it? I can. And it's wonderful. I can't describe it. You'd have to see it for yourself. Bandits came at me with daggers. They didn't know who they were messing with. Yep, and I like it that way. Bone Man told me to follow the weave, to let it guide me. I've learnt a lot thanks to him, and I'm still learning. Don't worry about me, I'll be just fine. I'll see you soon enough. Bone Man said so.
You just learn that there's something special about that it's emanating a set of magic. You don't learn anything
Someone there?
super insightful or quest-worthy out of it. But you can loot the bandits here.
Is that blood? No, never mind. Never wanted the easy path.
Okay, so now we'll head back here and head toward the main part of the sewers. And when I get up here, I'm going to go into hiding. Okay, that's just one of the rats.
Wonder if the gods are watching.
Not too worried about them. If he knocks me out hiding, it's not a big deal. Hey, actually, I can go up here and explore this real quick and open this up. I wasn't intending to explore the sewers so much today, but, you know, why not?
Keep your distance, darling. Over there.
There's a parchment here. So, in other words, they took all of these things from bone cloaks, which we'll be visiting a little bit later. This is why I took Astarion up here, to save against the grease.
Where am I? What's going on? Walk in.
Now you see over here that we have some grease mephits and grease balls and that sort of stuff. They are non-hostile right now.
What's the name of that river down there? Wizard called it the Sewer. Whatever it is.
And Astarion won't have any problem picking this. Hey, Mixed Life, welcome. Sorry if I missed your comment earlier. I apologize. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. In here is Kithrak Voss. Now, we're not going to deal with Kithrak Voss yet, but we certainly will be coming back to have an interaction with him. And then, as we get over here...
How much farther can I go?
Do a little searching here. I don't think there's much of anything here. Here is a ladder, and this is the point that you really enter into the sewers. This is over by the Baldur's Gate waypoint, in an alleyway by a building. This is the main way to enter into the sewers. And we're going to these grease balls down here. Again, are not hostile at this time. Okay, now here we're going to have somebody with high perception.
Well, hello.
Walk around here.
Need to keep going. That's curious.
There's one, and she found this
Might as well
loose
take a
stone.
That's curious.
There's the second loose stone.
That's curious.
There's the third. And you can read the journal and you find out about Alis, Bereki, and Saren, the three thieves who have been down here. Okay, and again you learn about the guild and Nine Fingers. That's weird. And you have another fragment from the journal. If you read all of this, you learn that they were trying to escape from... or they were stealing from Gortash and trying to get away with it. And there's the last loose stone. Well, I think that's them. Now there might be one more. Here's the painted key. Oh, this is Armand Shadowheart. There might be one more. No, that's it. The painted key works in the painted chest, crazy enough. Okay, so we picked up that armor. Send that to Karlach. Still encumbered, but not by very much. That should be good. Yep.
Everything is clear.
Okay, this doorway leads you back out to this main passageway out here.
With haste.
And then so does this one. Okay, gets you into this other area over here. We do have another door here. Okay, and that's going to get us into this area. Now this area here we're going to be exploring more a little bit later. Not right now. And here's the Undercity ruins.
Let's have a look.
Okay, so we unlocked the waypoint. We're going to be coming back to these corpses and this door later. But for now, we can talk to Penitent Bereki.
I need a quick word.
The penitent looks at you silently, expectantly. The penitent doesn't respond, holding your gaze almost unblinkingly with his. The penitent doesn't respond, holding your gaze almost unblinkingly with his. The penitent doesn't respond, holding your gaze almost unblinkingly with his.
So he doesn't respond at all, and you know his name. We saw his name in the journals.
There is the slightest flicker of acknowledgement in his eyes.
Okay, now Penitent Bereki is one of the three thieves that was down here. And he has a couple of items. And the first of which is the second of the 3 druid armor sets. And that is the armor of moonbasking. So this is for the moon druid subclass. You gain 22 temporary hit points after casting Wild Shape. That's a big amount. And this is one of the only way to get that big of amount of temporary hit points, other than a high level casting of aid. And while those temporary hit points are active, all incoming damage is reduced by 1. You have a +2 bonus to armor class. You have advantage on saving throws against spells. This effect persists while using your wild shape ability. So this is a light armor. It's an 11 armor class, but it has a +2 bonus to armor class on top of that. And advantage on saving throws against spells while you're just wearing it. And then if you wild shape, you still have those bonuses. So it is one of the 3 armor sets for the druid, but this is one of the better ones, and especially if you're the moon druid subclass, this is going to be a huge benefit to you. The bone spike helmet is really good. When you rage, hostile creatures in a 3-meter radius around you must succeed a wisdom saving throw or take 2d4 psychic damage. Right? If they do pass the saving throw, then they take half damage. Intimidation +2 is meh, it's not all that interesting. The last thing though is you gain menacing attack melee. Now, this is the Battlemaster maneuver menacing attack that is given to whoever's wearing the bone spike helm, and it resets down at the bottom per turn. Okay, so you can just use menacing attack over and over and over again while you are wearing this helm. So if menacing attack hits, it can frighten the target, and then they'll have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls and be unable to move. So this is an incredibly good helmet to have. You definitely want to pick it up, and it is relatively cheap from him. So I'm not going to end up buying, well, I mean, I might, but I may come back and do it later or something. But I am going to pick up the bone spike helmet right now. He doesn't have any cloud giant fingers or anything like that in here. So I'm not going to buy anything else off of him. Why did that suddenly go up to 1406? Weird. Thought it showed 700 or something like that a bit ago. Oh, it does. For some reason, when I hit T, it drops the level down to that. Okay, well, we're going to get out of Baldur here. And we're going to add on the Ring of Geniality here. And my persuasion's now up to +12.
The penitent looks at you silently. Express the slightest.
Okay. So yeah, that's just kind of weird. It's still not 1600, so I'm fine buying it.
The penitent blinks.
Okay, so what this is, what it's really going to go to is going to go to Karlach. That is one of the 3 bone spike sets. She's now going to have the entire set that she's going to be wearing. Then we're going to continue on down this way, and this will reach the end of the episode today, because now we are inside the ancient lair, and this is where we needed to find to end Mystic Carrion's immortality. So we did find out that Orin abducted Lae'zel. That was fully expected, and we need to find her in the Temple of Baal. We will certainly go do that. That one keeps resetting. We have completed the House of Grief. We have completed all of these. So... and here, we found the ancient lair that he wrote about. We should look for clues about where his heart might be. And that is definitely what we are going to do next episode. This room is a little special. It has some stuff happening in here. And then there's a secret room that we want to get into over here, but in doing so, there's going to be a huge ambush that we're going to have to deal with. You can see everybody dead around here. Let's loot at least these two. Okay. And that will get us ready for next week. So I'm going to drop a save here. And we will pick up here and finishing off the Free the Artist questline, and as such, the End Mystic Carrion questline next week. So, as always, thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of the comments that I always get in the chat. I love my interactions with you as the community, because, as always, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jerval saying, until next time, fare thee well.